All right, another episode. Uh, so I haven't done an episode in a while. A bunch of things have happened. For one, I got COVID, so kind of put me out of commission for a little bit. Wasn't really able to work on anything. So that's why it's a pretty big delay since the last episode. But I have done some stuff. So I was able to finish the front regear. I did that right there on those jack stands. The first weekend I attempted to do it, I found out that somehow I ended up with the thinner gear 410, which has been replaced with a thicker cut gear. Let me see if I can kind of describe it, but I know the last video I kind of went over the kit. I'm not sure if I had figured this out yet, but basically this is the factory 342, and when you put the 410, because of the size of the pinion, this gear ends up being about this thick. So they add more mass on the back to move this gear over that way to make up the difference for the pinion. I didn't realize that until I started trying to shim it, and I couldn't even barely get the gears to even touch. So contacted Wyatt, the supplier from Colorado Canyon Enthusiast. We figured out that somehow the set that I had somehow slipped through and was one that required a spacer that went behind here. Nitro no longer makes the spacer because they just thick cut their gears now. So I had to wait for another ring and pinion that was the thicker cut. Wyatt hooked it up. Got that a couple weekends ago. I believe that was probably about a week and a half ago. I got that, ended up getting the gear shimmed within spec. That took a little bit, not too bad though, nowhere near as bad as the front. Got that in, all new bearings, except for the one that I discussed in the previous episode. The one that went in there I was not able to get. I finally got my seals Friday, so I was able to finish reassembling the front diff and got that reinstalled yesterday. Let's go over to this side because it's still dismantled. We can kind of look at that. So yeah, so we've got the new seal, new bearing carriers in there. It's not full of fluid yet. It's got some fluid in there. I poured some to get it up into the pinion. It looks like my baffle's working. The one I bought, I believe that was for a Jeep Dana 44. I'll have to double check my paperwork, but that is the one that I'm running, and it seems to be working. I don't feel any binding with it. I had it in there when I was running setup, and no marks on it from it rubbing on anything. And we've got it in there with the final. I still don't have stuff plugged in. I've plugged the locker in, but I haven't plugged in the actuator yet. I'm going to wait to do that till I get under there. Do a little bit of cleaning. Let's see what else. Yeah, so we've got that in. Kind of just getting these finishing touches. Oh yeah, I got new hubs are installed. I put those on. One thing I'm waiting on, so I'm gonna have to go on a little rant here. So I order a lot of parts from GM Parts Direct, I believe is the website .com, and I ordered pretty much half of my motor pieces from them, but it seems like lately their customer service is it's horrendous. I ordered those seals on mid-December, and I still haven't gotten them. I ended up having to reorder them from Rock Auto. They finally got some in stock, and I got them last Friday in less than a week. I don't know what the hell GM Parts Direct is doing, but those that never ordered from there, they are a dealer. So I don't know how Rock Auto could get parts before the dealer can. And I've emailed them probably every 3 to 4 days, and they have not given me an update on my parts at all. I've tried canceling. Every time I try to cancel, they tell me that they're going to charge me 35% to restock what they haven't even got. So I don't know why that is, or why they just won't send me my damn parts, because going into that rant, one of my other issues is I ordered the bolts for the lower ball joints from them as well, and that is in the same order. They have given me no update on the bolts. I have no idea what's going on with them. I've emailed them every 3 or 4 days since mid-December, and they still have not replied. And it's, what, January 30th, I think? So it's been over a month and a half. I ordered new ones because when I had these on here and hammered them, I kind of damaged the nylon, and yeah, I kind of just want to replace that. No big deal. I'm going to go to the dealer probably tomorrow. Today's Sunday. I'm going to go to the dealer tomorrow and see how fast they can get me those bolts. But hopefully soon. The other side, I tapped out the nylon thing just to at least install stuff, and then I could pull it off and put a new one on there and torque it. So let's see. Yeah, my plan was to reassemble the entire front suspension this weekend, but got a mild issue here. So those that don't know, I upgraded to the RCV axles, and I have kind of a unique setup as far as people that have ordered this. I've talked to Wyatt. We think that this boot needs to be a tad smaller. If you can't see, it's touching. We're getting a little bit of touching of the shock, and it'll get worse, as we turn and that boot moves just a tiny bit. So we're talking with RCV about getting a tad smaller boot. That's not an issue when you run the DSSVs. And it's an even worse issue if you don't run a diff drop. So I'm still running the diff drop. You can see it in there. That definitely helps a lot with clearance for the Kings. Most of that is because the DSSVs, the spring is actually way up here, and the Kings, it's a whole lot lower with the spring perch. It just kind of takes up a lot of that real estate. But I think we've got it figured out. They'll be sending me some different boots to try, so I'll go ahead and pull that back out. I was just checking the clearance on that one. That side over there was actually touching a lot worse than this side. But I think we've got that figured out. We'll deal with that once the boots come. Throw those on there. Shouldn't be too hard. It's the inner. The inner's a lot easier to do than the outer. Once again, new wheel hub. But yeah, we're somewhat moving along. This might put me about a weekend behind, because I'll have to wait for the boots, and I can't really do much else. I have to pull that shock back out, because to pull the CV, you have to pull that shock. It's not going to clear. But yeah, I'll probably pull that apart next weekend. Hopefully have the boot. The back's done. I think I've covered that. maybe, but I did get the new cover. See the box there. That's installed. That diff is full fluid. Still have to fill this one. I'll probably next weekend do a coolant pressure test. I have a coolant pressure tester set up. So I'll probably do that next weekend. Get this thing full of coolant at least. Reinstall. So I did re-drill the new holes for the catch can on the plate here. I also did one of these. This will be a shout out to Walter from the Colorado groups if you're in those on Facebook. But this is the I can't even remember the name of it now. Knuckle Concepts, I believe. Battery terminal. I switched to this, so I run a winch, and then my ditch lights. I don't have a distribution block or anything, so my plan is I built this. I'll run this right here for the power, and then I'm going to run my winch and my ditch lights through here so that I have a new cover, and you can see right here where I've kind of cut that out, and I used to have my winch attached here, but I'm going to attach my winch cable here. The cables are down here, but I still need to run those under here, and then I'll put the cover back on. I'll probably just run them and leave them loose. I won't have them attached at first because I won't have the winch in at all, at least for the first few drives, and I don't want, a hot and cold or a positive and negative battery, a positive and negative cable attached to the battery and not attached to anything else. So I'll just run them up here loose. That way I can route them back how I had them for the winch. Put the cover back on so I don't have to kind of fish stuff in here with the cover on. And then we'll put that back on. Install the catch can. Probably throw the belts on next weekend as well. I'm going to pull the AC fuse so we don't run the AC compressor because there's no oil or freon in there. I have a oil injector set up to basically oil the system through the port, but I'm going to wait until we kind of get a drive or two in here, make sure everything is good before I go and throw freon in here. I think I've covered it in another video. The newer Colorado runs this R1234YF, which is kind of expensive. I believe a can of it is about $50. So it's pretty pricey. But hopefully I could do that. I may install the exhaust because I don't think now that we have the diff in, I can attach the front drive shaft and run that exhaust for the final time. So I'll probably do that next week, and if I don't get the boots, I'm gonna try to at least get a lot of the other little things done. I still have to move my starter cable, so I'll do that when I do the exhaust, but I'll install the exhaust that way. I should be able to start it, plug in the four-wheel drive actuator, install the O2s, and then we should get no faults. Yeah, we should be able to start it with no faults, and then I can start playing with the programming just to finalize that. I think I've discussed in another video. As of right now, I can start it. It will start. I haven't tried to drive it yet, but I have some theft lights that are occurring because I don't think I've fully integrated the BCM to the ECU yet. So I've talked with Current about the sequence that I'm supposed to do that, so I need to redo that, but I want to do it with no faults because I think that's why it wasn't letting me do it before. So go ahead and retry it with no fault, see if it'll actually take. If I have issues, we were talking, and whenever they do a swap, they always just install a new ECM. That way it's blank, it's never been attached to a BCM. Currently that's a used one. So that has been in a Silverado before. I have a brand new one, blank. I was able to find one a couple months ago. I went ahead and bought it just in case. If it didn't work, I can always get my money back pretty easily. Those things, with the chip shortage, those things are pretty hard to find nowadays. So a lot of swap groups will pretty much pay what you paid for it. But we'll go ahead and try it with that. If it doesn't work and I still get the theft lights, then I'm going to put the new one in there and redo the procedure with a brand new ECM, and then hopefully we're good. I'll go over that in a video. I'll probably kind of show the sequence and show what it's doing. We'll see if I can get kind of a setup to do that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much covers where we're at right now. I just kind of wanted to do an update because I know it's been a few weeks. I really wish I was a lot farther. I don't know what it is. It's like these last few little things here are just kind of, you know, becoming a pain and really kind of taking a majority of the time. But yeah, we'll get it. Yeah, hopefully if I get the exhaust on and get the sensors all hooked up, I may do another start just to kind of hear what the exhaust sounds like. Now that it's fully welded up, fully, you know, done with the O2s and everything, we'll see what it sounds like. Oh, I also have to run I'm running a wideband for my tuner. My tuner wants me to track wideband data from the exhaust, so I have to run a wire in there for that, and I have to figure out a remote positive under the dash, because I've got a air-fuel ratio gauge that'll go with that I plan on mounting over here somewhere. I've got a suction cup mount for now, but I might look at, there's a gauge pod that goes in here. I think Bank sells it for one of their diesel things, but it should work with my gauge. So I need to run it to here, so I need to run a positive remote to get that. I haven't even looked at where to do that. The fuse box is way over there, so running an add a fuse, I might have to do that, but I'll have to get some wiring and kind of run that, because they don't give me enough wiring to go that far with the air fuel ratio gauge. But yeah, I'll have to do that. That way I could do I'll need that for some idle tunes for my tuner, and then we'll hopefully be completing this thing and get some video of some driving as we kind of work out but break in the gears. We'll do a 500-mile gear break-in, and then after I do the gear break-in and change the fluid, make sure everything's good with that, then we'll do get some video of this thing ripping. But yeah, that's kind of a status update for now. Like always, if anybody's got any questions, let me know in the comments, or you know, send me a message. I do have an email set up it's the channel name at gmail.com. So if you've got a question that you don't want to throw in the comments, you can always send an email to that radov8swap at gmail.com, and I can throw it in another video. Let's see what else. I think that's it for now. Hopefully next video we'll have an exhaust on, and we'll do another start and show that, you know, depending on how far we get with the front. But just wanted to give a quick update. So see you guys on the next one.